Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to first Friday of the new year 2025. Hope you all are doing great. We'll start with S&P 500 projection. We'll review NASDAQ, Dow Jones, Russell 2000. We'll review crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then also we'll review other commodities and the FANG stocks. Please hit the like button, guys. Only takes 1 second to hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. Okay, so US 500 futures, and there are two possibilities, and this is going to probably touch this red line 60 which is around 6300 at some point. I don't know when. Historically, seasonality predicts that this is going to be bullish. Like, even if you can see this is the history of US 500. You can see here this is 2023 and 2024 projections here done for free for from on TradingView. You can see we usually get January a rally. Okay, so January to February for last 2 years, 2023, 2024, we got a pump, all right? And then in 2023, we got a dump from February to March, okay? But on 2024, year 2024, we never got that. So forget about later part, but there is a possibility of pump from early January to February, okay, early February. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to short, that there is a possibility that market can pump, and especially when a new president comes, 80% of the time market do pumps. But regardless where we go, these are the levels which this is an indicator which keeps me honest. And I'm looking for, to be honest, on SPX. Let's quickly go to SPX chart just to show you here. SPX hasn't filled this gap. You can see this pre-election gap. It came and made a new low yesterday. If I go to 1 hour chart, you can see it made a new low compared to this low, but then went higher. All right. I I think this is going to be filled 100%. They're just playing games. I don't know when. The sooner they fill, the better it is. From where it closed yesterday, Thursday, to that gap fill is about, let's say, about 1.3% away. All right. That can happen very quick and in one day. All right. All depends on Apple. I will show you later on. But this gap is a target. And if you look at other indices like Dow Jones, this gap is already filled here. You can see Russell also, this gap was filled way earlier. Bitcoin and Nasdaq also is leaving, still waiting for this gap to fill. On triple Qs, looks like this was another gap they came to fill it, but this gap is still far. This is election gap from where it closed yesterday on triple Q. That gap is almost 3.43% away. So tech stocks really need to take a big hit to fill that gap. Okay, so let's go back on the projections. We can see here on this chart here. So I do think that there will be a time when it's going to pump and hit this red line, because you can see time and time again this thing goes and touches both green line and red lines. Okay, so this is a very good indicator which I made. You can see every time it goes above, it could touch red line very easily, and then it can go and touch the bottom green line. It's even possible it can touch bottom green line. All right, so just keep that in mind. Don't be like blindsided. You can see here also in a very good bull market last year, we came and almost about to touch this green line here. So from where we are, as of right now, futures are up 0.35%. We are looking for around 7% pump to the upside to touch 6300, and inversely we are looking for around 7.6% downside dump to start buying in this zone. So it's from 5400 to around 5150. All right, so this is the area you want to be looking to buy. Also, you want to keep an eye on RSI. We really want to be buying when RSI is in this bottom green line. All right, so I'll be keeping an eye on RSI. All these two indicators basically looking for this green zone and then green line on RSI, because every time it goes in this green and background is red on this RSI indicator, we usually get a bounce. You can see we got a bounce from here. When it went to red zone, we got a bounce of almost around 4.5%. All right, so keep that in mind and we'll see how it goes. And let's go back to now daily analysis and the zones also, right? So you can see zones here on S&P 500. We came to buy zone and then bounce. You can see buy zone bounce here. He came here around Wednesday, 7:31 p.m. Bounce here. Then again yesterday in the morning around 1:30 p.m. we came and then bounced 1%. So I was sharing these levels with my subscribers, and if you want to know more about these indicator, join join my channel. There's a description in the description. There's a join button. Join, and I share these levels with my subscribers every hour. And one trade, you can make a lot of money on that. All right. Okay, so let's go and do like a side-by-side comparison. And now let's go to Nasdaq. You can see Nasdaq also bounce here. And on a daily chart on Nasdaq, same thing here. Looks like it came very close to filling this gap, but it did not fill it. Okay, so if you go to 1 hour chart, you can see we still have some room to go. So that makes me believe that we could go lower. It's sitting on this 50 moving average, yellow and red lines. Let's see if it's going to bounce. So it's going to bounce, will fail. It already made a new low. Okay, so this is change in trend, lower high, lower low. Even on S&P 500, lower high, lower low. Now we have to see if we get a bounce or we're going to get straight to fill this gap. Also on the SPX cycle chart, we are looking for on this rising phase to go. Let's see if we're going to go on a rising phase. Still there's there, or we're going to bounce and then fail, and then we have a bigger decline towards the end of January. We'll see how it plays out. We'll keep an eye on that. All right. Live market is trying to go higher. You can see futures, both futures are trying to pump. Dow Jones, again trying to make a double bottom. DIA ETF, the gap is here around 415, and then Russell 2000, the gaps are around 211. All right. Although Russell is holding well, it held well as well yesterday near 200 moving average blue line. So we'll see how it goes. Crude oil, very, very bullish, up 0.45% in like couple of days, just going straight up. Now in front of 200 moving average. Whenever we come there, 200, they usually find little resistance. You can see here we came, little decline. Then again we go higher. Um, Here we had little bit of decline. Then we go higher. Here also same thing, touched and decline. So we'll see how this. You can see every time this touches this blue line, it acts as a resistance, and that's where we are right now. Also, we're getting a 7 count sell signal right now. Um, RSI is almost at the top, but we'll see if it's there's a gap here around 75. So in my opinion, we're going to fill that gap. Just a matter of time when around 2.52%. Even if you get slight decline couple of days, it's going to go high. Now it's changing trend. All right, you can see high, low, and this made a new high crude oil. All right, so this is changing trend. So even if you get a decline, it's going to be high, low, and then go higher. All right, CNQ oil miner looking nice. Closed about 20 moving average yesterday. Now the issue is that it opened on a gap up, okay? So it went on a gap up. So they could come back, fill this gap at some point, then go higher, but there are also gaps on the top side too, all right? So there are multiple gaps on the top side too. So we'll see how it plays out. Even all the energy sector stocks did the same thing and trying to do a V-shaped recovery all depends on crude oil. On XLE, there's a gap around 89, so probably they're gonna go for that gap fill from where it closed yesterday to that gap fill is around 2.7% away. CNQ, there was a gap, dividend gaps, it already filled that. Now the next gap is almost around, let's say around 6% away, all right, around 33.19. We'll see how fast it can go there. Bitcoin, all right, so Bitcoin came into this support box and bounced. I did not change anything. You can see this box came here. I left some little bit of resistance. Now, if Bitcoin rejects here, it could be lower high rejection and it's going to come down. On BTC chart, there are gaps around 96,000. Okay, this one is, I think, around 94,635. Sorry, 94,635, and then 77. So it's just a matter of time. It will fill. I just don't know when. Ethereum, there are gaps around 39, 37. So they could pump Ethereum to fill that gap first, and then before that, they can they can pump that and then come back down to fill that 2900 gap. So just keep that in mind as well. Toronto Stock Exchange trying to bounce. There's a gap at the bottom, gap at the top, right now in the middle. Hang Seng Index also looks a bit bearish last couple of days. Looking for this 18K gap to fill. Bonds also trying to, we can see the good news is PPO trying to cross over. We're getting a green line. Let's see if it can officially cross over. That will help to put some upwards pressure on bonds. We'll see if that works out. Commodities, natural gas fill this gap nicely. It was gap up a couple of days ago, up 16%. Now gave it all back, and now back testing on this 20 moving average. Looking nice here. Gold also giving little back. Yesterday tried to close above all moving averages, but got rejected. Now it's just holding in the middle. So the gold is just chopping around from last couple of days, doing not much. Silver is also near 200 moving averages. Copper in near support. Sugar tried to rally yesterday, gave it back a little bit. Wheat is in the zone, support zone. Corn just giving little back, getting a 9 count sell signal. Dollar very, very bullish. Next resistance is here. I think it's just gonna probably take a little breather and then keep going higher. Apart from that, Apple is down. So I was telling yesterday that it's coming for a back test probably and probably a little bit more lower. There's a gap around 233. So I'm looking for that gap fill at some point. I don't know when. So from where it closed yesterday to that gap fill is around 4.2% away, and that will be a nice back test of this. Other than that, I don't see anything interesting, any interesting stocks to buy. Microsoft is pretty interesting. Had a nice candle yesterday, and like it was down like almost 1.5% yesterday, and then gave recovered near 200 moving average. So the all every time price is around there, the bots are triggered to buy these stocks. So probably people might be buying some gaps up. Also, there are some gaps here. This is a very nice support here. I don't know if it's going to come here at some point around 375. So we'll keep an eye on that. Apart from that, NVDA held very nicely yesterday, up 2.9%, just chopping around here, probably waiting for earnings, which is in February, still far away. So just holding here, just chopping around. AVGO, Tesla had a nice dump after deliveries news. So it's a blow off top, all right? So it's a lower high, lower low. So basically you can see high, and lower low, and probably it's going to go fill all these gap at some point. It's not going to go straight down, so it's going to just chop around, keep going lower. All right, you can see these gap, massive gap here around 213, massive gap here around 254, and then there are so many other gaps here. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's not going to just keep going straight up. Every time it goes straight up in the past, you can see here, every time it goes straight up, it comes straight down. You can see straight down. So I think Tesla has probably seen its stop. Maybe for this year, we'll see. Okay. Apart from that, UNH, I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Pretty interesting, but we'll see how it goes. And WCN, there's also another good stock. Let me see, show you here. Keeping an eye on this as well, below 200 moving average. So let's see, very, very oversold. Um, but I don't see any divergence. So I want to see some divergence. So maybe a bounce and make a new low. That will be when I will be looking to buy. CNI looking good, and CP tried to break out of this trend line, but could not do it yesterday. We'll see if they're going to do it today. And then TD Bank, let's look at it. TD Bank is just trying to make a bottom, and then some these communication stocks. RCI very, very oversold. TELUS and Bell, I don't know where the bottom is, but looks very, very oversold. CSU looking nice, looking for a new low with some divergence, and then could be a nice area to buy for a bounce. BlackBerry had a nice bounce and gave it all back by the end of the day. MicroStrategy also looking for this 270 gap fill. It's a 100% done deal. I just gonna take time. It's not gonna go straight down. Where it closed yesterday, I think that's about 10% away. Wow, but it's gonna happen at some point. All depends on Bitcoin whenever it starts to go down and fill this gap. All right, so VIX looking for a pump to fill this gap 27. That's going to be very bad for stock market, or a dump to fill this 12.79 gap. Whatever happens, whenever happens, we'll go and watch. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you next week. Bye.